Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, friends. If you remember, we were discussing 2nd of December 2020 exam, and in our first video, we looked at the scenario. We made some summary of the scenario. In the second video, we covered first four questions with answers, and in today's video, I will try to wind it up and we'll be covering the remaining three questions, question number 5, 6, and 7. So let's start. So, guys, if we look at your question number 5, the task 5 is influencing behavior to improve performance. And your question 5 is when workers eventually return to the working in the office, with the new control measures in place, they will need to adopt new behaviors. You think that organization will be effective in positively influencing this behavior change? Justify why you believe this using examples from the scenario only to support your justification. So, guys, the question is very clear, and here the examiner would like you to look at all of those controls which are a byproduct of our risk assessment. And if you remember, there was a meeting called, and the management was discussing with the safety advisor as well as the other people were involved that what to do when the people will come back to the normal work practices, what controls should be there, what procedures should be there. So if you remember, there were many controls identified and many communication methods and all of those things were discussed to improve the situations, to avoid any problems when the people will come back, because these are totally new routines. People used to work normally before pandemic, then the pandemic came and they were shifted to their home working environment, and now they are coming back when still pandemic is the COVID-19 risk is still there, but uh, somehow they have to come back and do their jobs. So additional control measures are provided there. So the examiner would like to know how do you think that people will be behaving properly with these new controls? How do you think the organization will be successful in modifying the behaviors of workers to adapt to the new normals? So let's see. So friends, we'll be starting with our normal practice with one paragraph on top where we'll be admiring some of the controls taken by the organization, and you can start writing your paragraph saying the organization has done all possible measures to develop new controls to cope up with the new normal, which will change behaviors of employees after return to their workplaces with this new situation of COVID-19 safely. Some of these controls are as follows. And now you will start answering the typical question on the controls. So, if you recall the scenario summary, we highlighted some of the controls. So, a complete and thorough research-based risk assessment is done already. We all know that the safety advisor, he was visiting another company who was very successful in maintaining some controls to benchmark them, and the safety advisors, he looked at the government policies for the new situations for returning back to the normal work practices. So there's a research done, and then there was a risk assessment done properly within the organization. So this was uh, one of the control, I would say. They maintain to further bring other controls. Newly developed controls as per the risk assessment were defined. As we all know, many procedures were defined, and development of many procedures and proper communication of all developed procedures using medias, different medias. So we earlier also we discussed that procedure is only a piece of paper if people they don't know what procedure is that and how to follow that, how to maintain that, how to look at the controls. So communication is a key to success. So many communication methods were defined, if you remember, starting from the use of video conferencing, and then later on they were using company bulletin boards also when people will come back to the normal routine. They were using some posters, they were using some procedures like hygiene procedures, hand sanitizing procedures, PPE procedures, also updating the management system and some of the emergency procedures. So all of these procedural controls were taken, and the communication medias are used to properly communicate all of these changes to the workers. Extension of cleaning company contract is another one of the control which might affect the behaviors of people, because usually cleaning services are limited, but in this case the organization has identified that there is extensive and more frequent cleaning required to avoid the contamination of surfaces, to make sure that the viruses contaminations are controlled through proper cleaning activity. So they maintained this control. They extended their contract with the cleaning company also. For sure, it will help in modifying the behaviors of people, and people will be taking more care of the cleaning services. Update in the first aid, evacuation, emergency policies is another control organization is maintaining, and updating health and safety management system, for sure, as we discussed, is another control. Linking all procedures with the disciplinary procedures. This is very important to modify the behaviors of people. Since we all know that a rule and regulation require enforcement sometime. So sometimes people forget, sometimes they don't want to follow new procedures. So linking of all of these procedures with disciplinary procedure is very good control by this organization, which will assure that behavior will be modified, changed accordingly at work. Everybody will take care and avoid the disciplinary procedures for sure. Ensuring behavioral monitoring through observations and survey. This is another important tool, guys, to make sure that people are following new rules and regulations or not, their behavior is changed or not. So for this reason, company will maintain behavioral surveys, behavioral monitoring and observation systems, and there will be certain supervisors who will be monitoring how people are behaving at work, whether they are following new rules and regulations or not, whether they are maintaining safe distances, whether they are using masks and PPEs and all that. So this is another important control which will for sure modify the behaviors of people at work when they will come back to the normal work routine. Training of workers on newly developed procedure is very important to modify their behaviors. So once the employees will come back, they will be trained formally on new procedures so that they know what they have to do and how they have to do. So this will be for sure behavior modification tool also. So if you look at all of these controls, for sure maintaining these controls will guarantee that workers' behavior will be modified, workers' behavior will change, and accordingly they will be following new rules and regulations defined by the organization. So friends, your question number 6 is very straightforward question. If you look at the task, checking management system effectiveness through auditing, and question is, the managing director appears to be confused about audit and inspection, and those who carry them out. Advise the managing director on the difference between audit and workplace inspection, benefits of using third-party auditors rather than internal workers for carrying out health and safety audit for the management system. As I told you, this is very straightforward question, and you can simply go back and refer to your syllabus book or your other medias like online medias or whatever to get some information. If you remember, in your course material, this is element number 4 in your IGC 1 book, where the audits and inspections and all of these things are discussed. So you can simply bring some information from there, because the examiner would like to know the general benefits of the difference between audit and inspection and general benefits of third-party auditors. It is not strongly linked to the scenario question, but even if you can link it somehow with the scenario, that would be additional benefit. So let's start. So guys, starting with the part A of your question number 6 answer, I would recommend you to make it in this format, because you need to keep inspections on one side, audits on the other side, so that the difference is visible to the examiner. And if we look at the inspections, for sure, inspection look at physical reality of workplace. We all know that inspection is on a workplace, on an equipment, on an area. So the scope of inspection is limited. Okay, it checks your workplace, check your records like checklists and all of those records. It is usually very quick method because any competent person can do inspection. He can be a user of that equipment or he can be a worker in that workplace area also. It is very low cost because it is done by the organizational employees, not no third party is required to do inspection, and it may only require basic competence. As I told you, any competent person can do inspection, any operator, any machine operator, any worker in the area, any supervisor can go for inspection. You don't need a very qualified and experienced inspector in all the cases, and it's a part of an audit. Inspection can be a part of an audit. Maybe your auditor asks you to show me your inspection checklist for different machines and equipments. So in that case, it's a part of an audit. While if we look at the audit is a much wider umbrella as compared to inspection. Audit is a macro level, inspection is a micro level. And if you look at the audit look at the management system. Uh, Mainly it's a management system examination. It checks your health and safety management system's health, and it examines the documents, the procedures, it interviews the workers, verifies the standards, whether you are meeting the standards or not. It checks the workplace, can be long process. Inspection can be done quickly, but audit is always a long process. Auditors might spend 3, 4, 5 days at your site to make sure all the documents are checked, all the procedures are checked properly, and usually expensive. We all know that when we call a third party auditor, they charge us money, sometime hourly basis, sometime man day rate basis. So audit is a costly process also, and it require a high level of competence of auditor. Anybody cannot do audit. For auditor, you need to be certified auditor, and most of the time the auditors are very experienced people. They are competent people to do audits, and they come from different backgrounds. Maybe an audit company will send you an auditor carrying 25 years of experience. He might be visiting many type of organizations, oil and gas, construction, petrochemicals. So they carry bunch of experience with them. They are knowledgeable, competent, and experienced people. So now, in nutshell, if we look at the audit and inspection, audit is much wider perspective. Inspection is a micro level. Audit is examination of your management system. Inspection is examination of your tools, equipments, areas within the workplaces. Audit can be done by third-party auditors. Inspection can be done internally by your own employees and all that. So these common differences you need to highlight. Since there are 10 marks awarded for this question, I would recommend you to write it in a short paragraph form. First you write inspection and the other side you write audits, and you follow the same 2-3 lines on each point structure of the answer. So that's how you will be solving this question. So friends, if we look at part B of your question 6, it is again very easy question, and the examiner would like to ask you what are the benefits of using third-party auditors. So simply you need to list down some of the benefits here. First of all, neutral and unbiased assessment of management system. The auditor come from outside, so he will always go neutral and unbiased. While assessing your management system, you will not make any biased decisions or something. Whatever is available at site, whatever is available in your documentation, he will make his judgment and decision on the same. Third-party auditors are always more experienced and competent, we all know. So rather doing internal audit by your own worker, if you compare it with a third-party auditor, we earlier also discussed that third-party auditors are more experienced. He might be carrying a lot of experience from different industries, different type of businesses. So his audit will be more credible. Fresh pair of eyes, very simple, that a third party auditor is not from your own organization. He is somebody coming from outside, so he come with the fresh pair of eyes. So the problem which are not visible to you being a part of that organization, you might ignore them. This guy is not going to ignore them. He come with the fresh pair of eyes, so he will be highlighting each and every problem in your management system, and he will try to recommend you proper controls to control the situations. More knowledgeable experience so can suggest better recommendations. Guys, a third party auditor's recommendation is always credible. If you compare it with your own people recommendations within the organization, a third party auditor's recommendation on any of the issue will be more credible. Management will give it more weightage to put those controls accordingly. Not influenced by organizational management internally. Third party auditor belongs to another company, certification company, and he is not influenced by your management. Even if your CEO is trying to influence him with something, for sure he is not going to be influenced. He will be neutral, and he will make his own decisions, so nobody can influence him. However, if you compare it with your own internal auditor, for sure, internal auditor is a part of your organization. He can be influenced by his bosses or something to ignore some points, to not list down those points in the report and all that. But this is not the case with third party auditors. This is another benefit. Their audits carry more weightage and credibility. It is very clear that third party audits are required by the clients. Why? Because they are done by a professional organization, by professional people, by professional auditors, and they carry more weightage as compared to your internal audits and all that. And the recommendations carry more weightage and credibility, as we discussed earlier also. Any recommendation made by your third party auditor will carry more advantage, more weightage and credibility, and management would love to implement that typical control which is suggested by a third party auditor. Even management sometimes they don't have a way out. They have to follow the recommendation of third party auditor. Then only they will get that NCR closed and their certification will be released. So friends, if we look at your question number 7, which is the last question in the exam, the task 7 is identifying data used to monitor health and safety performance. Question 7 is the organization needs to determine the effectiveness of its health and safety performance based on the activities actual or planned in the scenario. What could you collect and use as health and safety performance indicators in the organization? Total marks 10. Guys, if you remember in the scenario, there are certain indicators given on which we can measure the performance of the organization. Even if you link it with your syllabus, in the element 4 of your syllabus, we were discussing some of the proactive and reactive indicators which will help you to identify whether you are meeting your targets or not, how you are doing, what is your performance and all that. So to have a performance check, we need to be looking at some of the indicators on the basis of which we'll be measuring performance within the organization. So let's see. So here we have highlighted some of the indicators on the basis of which you can measure the performance of the organization, and you can see how you are doing in health and safety. First of all, legal compliance to the government policies is very important. We all know that as per scenario, government has defined certain rules and regulations in the beginning, also in general practices, and after pandemic is over, government has defined some rules and regulations. The first and the most important indicator for all of us is to see whether we are meeting all of those requirements or not, whether we are complying with the government procedures and policies defined or not. This is the first indicator. Then compliance to procedures developed for those working from home. This can be one of the indicator also. If you remember, the health and safety advisor developed a procedure for people working at home. So whether people are complying with that or not. For example, if you might have noticed that it was planned to have 30 minutes meeting every week, but some of the departments, they are not meeting that requirement. They are going for long meetings. They are not developing proper workstations at home as guided by HSE advisor. They might not be maintaining the time frame. They might not be maintaining the frequency of the meetings weekly. So this can be one of the indicators to see whether these procedures are met properly or not. How many infected cases within the organization can be one of the indicators of performance. Okay. And incident investigations and reportings on infected cases. So company have an incident reporting and investigation procedure. This can be one of the indicators that how many cases were found infected and how many were investigated and reported properly to the concerned bodies. Update in management system can be one of the key performance indicator since many procedures changed, many new procedures came, whether the management system is updated properly or not. Update in emergency policies and arrangements can be one of the performance indicators. So if you remember in the scenario, it is clearly informed that you being health and safety advisor and HR manager, you are assigned to update the management system accordingly with all of these new procedures. And even the emergency procedures, you defined clearly that these should be updated properly. Training to plan on new procedure can be one of the key performance indicator for health and safety within this organization. Since many new things arrived, whether the trainings are planned properly and how many are planned, how many are done, how many are remaining, this can be one of the performance indicator. Monitoring and inspection frequencies at site. Okay, so as we all know that after the pandemic situation is over, still COVID risk is there. So the inspection frequencies they might be improved or increased. So whether all of those inspection frequencies, monitoring frequencies are maintained. Also, it was clearly defined in the scenario that you will be having some monitoring on behaviors of people also. So maybe there are two surveys planned every week, whether these two are met or not. So you can see the data and you can define this performance indicator to keep a check on the performance measurements. Behavioral checks on the workers can be one of the performance indicator. And cleaning services and hygiene monitoring, since we have extended the contract, you can keep an eye on the cleaning contractor, whether they are meeting the required frequencies, whether they are coming twice a day or thrice a day, whatever is defined in the cleaning contract or not. So these are some of the answers to your question number 7. You can list down all of these performance indicators. So guys, here we have ended up your exam on 2nd of December 2020, and I hope that you got some knowledge out of these videos. Again, at the end, I would like to emphasize on the key to success is not a bullet format answer. Your key to success is a detailed answer with the paragraph format with 2 to 3 lines on each bullet point we mentioned here. We have used a bullet format here because of the time restriction. I cannot make very long video on one question individually. So I try to cover to give you hints on what bullet points should be added to your answer. But again, if you many people they ask me again and again on in the comment sections of the channel that whether this is the right answer you have given and this is 100% okay to go with. No, this is not 100%. This is, I would say, 50%. The rest of 50%, you have to define it in your own ways, in your own wordings. You have to define in 2 to 3 line each bullet points to complete your answer part. So guys, hope that you like the videos, and some people were pushing me to make videos on the remaining question of 28th of October. So I will see, I will get some time and I will try to complete that exam also, because as I told you, I was a bit busy with some of the family issues and I could not complete that. Even on that exam, we made up a video very quickly in the, I think on 1st of December, well, one day before your examination. So I will try to complete that also sometime. So stay tuned, stay connected, guys, and keep in touch. We will be coming up with many useful videos very soon. See you soon. Thank you very much.